Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Listen, I'm laughing in the background because I got, actually, neither one of these texts that I thought I was getting at 10:02 was checking on me about why I was running late. I thought that it was, and one's asking about crab dip and the other is about, anyway. So I'm laughing because my guest and I were in the background trying to figure out, good morning, Sharon Cornelius over on Instagram. Happy belated birthday. Well, we said it the other day, so I'm good. I'm a little frazzled because my guest and I were trying to figure out some of the tech in the background, and she just popped in. And let me just share this real quick on Facebook, and we'll get started. So very quickly, shout out to Kendrick Lamar for his outstanding performance in the Super Bowl yesterday. We're not going to go too much into that because we do have a serious subject to cover today, as it is Mental Health Monday. But do me a favor and hit the like and share button. And we're going to go ahead and bring our guests in so we can kind of fall out. But I got to say, shout out to Sister Toy, because toward the end, I was like, I know you and computers and stuff ain't best friends. And I felt bad because I was in event or production mode. And I was like, this dude. And then we had a 20-second delay. So anyway, the information and what we're going to raise around what this woman has been doing. It's Black History Month. There's an event on Friday. We have collaborated over the past, well, we're back outside. So not so much in the Java Cafe, but as we are approaching the fifth that we're commemorating that 5 years ago, a lot of us had to switch into a space of virtual, and Toy and I partnered. And so the first Mental Health While Black was in person. I think we did 3 years virtually or 2 years virtually. And then now it's back in person. And so that's coming up on Friday. However, there's a lot going on. And there's policies that are going on that particular communities in general are dealing with death by suicide. And I would venture to say, and the expert is getting ready to come in, that consideration is more than likely up based on some policies. And I will say specifically within the LGBTQ and the trans community as well. And so I want to bring in this sister who I have seen champion. Hey, shout out to Toy, turn that to whatever is on.
That was my laptop. I was trying to share the video.
Okay, yeah, nope, turn that off.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see if I can switch something around because I want to get a better aesthetic. And I told Toy earlier because she just, well, partially, maybe this is a little bit my fault because Toy got the link at what, 9:51? We going back to the days of 20 and 21. Remember, I would book you the night before. You would get the link at 8:45. So let me see what I can do. Okay, this might be a little bit better. The other thing, hold on, Toy. We might let me see something real quick.
Can you go to my background? Because I don't know how to do that.
I'm gonna see what this does. If it lets me do it won't let me do it. Oh, you can't change the settings when you're like, oh, Toy, where'd you go? It's Mental Health Monday. This is definitely going to be a little bit of a blooper. I will go solo for a minute till we get Toy back on screen. So we are going back. I said that, in the next few weeks, we're going to kind of talk about the past 5 years of what we've been doing. And what you're seeing right now, as wonderful as this aesthetic looks, charter members that are in here, if y'all remember, we had, okay, so Toy came. This is definitely going to be a blooper. Okay, so, all right, happy Mental Health Monday. Your background is fine. Hold on, let's go back. Okay, There we go. Well, look at all the wonderful art and pictures and the babies and you listen, I told you earlier when we started, it was the information that's important. So let me just ask, with all that's going on this morning, how you doing?
Oh my goodness.
Boy, this reminds me of early when we were getting started. There were technical difficulties. I had an old laptop. The thing was overloaded. So I think it's so apropos today. So I do want to, in that vein, let's check in. It's Mental Health Monday in the Java Cafe. You and I talked about mental health before Java with Jimmy. You came and actually was the person that helped me clearly. And shout out to brother Vlad that's in the building, Tucson. I'm on because these Instagram names when they're all together. But brother Vlad, good to see you in the building. You in a conversation said, we would just say mental health. And we were talking about it in general in our community as therapy was trending and everybody had a therapist. And you helped me understand we maintain our mental wellness and we address our mental illness. And that is what mental health is. And since then, Toy, we have seen you in this community champion suicide prevention. And I can unequivocally say I've sent at least one person reached out and then two people, which also means that we had minimally 3 deaths by suicide in our community. One reached out and 2 I referred to you. And the feedback that I got about your physical presence, you went to places with people. You showed up. Yeah, well, on a good note, because we're talking about something heavy. So where we can keep it light, we will. You are everywhere, taking selfies and whatnot too in the advocacy social space. But I had people hit me and be like, yo, Toy came, showed up, sat with us. So I got to ask, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. And like you said, it's a heavy subject. You're in people's lives in a worse point in their lives as they're dealing with their loved one's death by suicide, and a lot comes with that. As y'all know, my sister died by suicide, so of course it brings up some things for me, but I love the work.
It's so interesting because when I was with Mayor Menino, I found myself like saying around the street memorials, if nobody was doing it, that particular space wouldn't evolve the way it was. And there was a time where that part of service, people sometimes like us, we're just called to it. And it just enjoying the helping and the assisting, using resources. I'm sure you gained a wealth of knowledge around navigating systems. And so we see ourselves as a resource in doing that. And so I just had to check in, and I will ask, and you went right to the work. I said, how are you doing? But, give us one word this morning. Let's jump into our mental health tradition. One word this morning for how you're feeling. And then we're going to talk about just maybe the state of things and me mentioning that. And you can tell us, after your greeting, are you being reached out to more by your expertise? Do you have even a sense from seeing what's going on? This isn't political. Yeah. This is the impact of changing policies around maybe increased consideration and also attempts to die by suicide. So Toy, please tell us how you're doing with one word, and then also maybe another word around the state of things in reference to suicide.
So my one word for today, I am feeling grateful about the state of things. I would say I'm
the policies that are coming out, these executive orders.
Oh, see, I didn't know that's what you meant. I thought
Come on, give us that.
I
Now
thought
that
you meant the word, because I'm encouraged that people are reaching out.
Okay. But the fact that they're reaching out, you're encouraged, because what I gather from that and knowing you is the awareness.
They're not suffering alone, put it that way, because they're reaching out for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now that you got, particularly, and we'll raise that point gladly. Now that you understand the context in which I was asking the word coming out of
uncertainty. My one word for that is uncertainty.
Okay. Can you give us some context as to why for you there's uncertainty?
Because a lot of people don't know what to do with all that's coming out of DC. I mean, it's just so much every day. So people don't really know how it's going to affect us as a state, as with funding, as so that's why I say uncertainty. Absolutely.
And then in the mental health space, that is from a programmatic. Where I'm trying to go today is the impact on individuals. Where do you perceive, as someone that moves in this space, you named it, there's awareness of what you're doing, people aren't suffering alone. Is that gathering of people, by your perception, increasing based on the mental health impact of what's coming out of Washington?
I wouldn't correlate the two, considering the people who've reached out have had years of suffering. So I wouldn't say because what's coming out of DC is making more people reach out for help. I would say that people, that's why I said encourage, that people are feeling, before mental health was something that people hid. Mm-hmm. And so now people are asking for help. That's why I feel encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that has anything to do with DC, but I get what you're saying, because a lot of people, it's stoking fear in them, with deportations, losing their family members and things of that nature. But no, the people who've reached out to me have been suffering for a while.
Okay. So thank you. Cause that's sort of where I was, going, and I'll ask specifically the question, do you believe that there is a mental health impact on folks on these policies that are coming out?
Of course.
Okay. That's so, particularly, what do you see in your space of that impact?
So I can speak on myself because, like I said, the people who reach out to me or reaching out because their loved ones died by suicide, it's not about fear of being deported or fear of the policies that have been coming out in the past 2 weeks. But I know.
So you haven't had any anyone reach out, or just, I'm looking for maybe your awareness as an expert in this space of that impact. That's
no, the families that I deal with, they're concerned that their loved ones died by suicide. They're concerned that people looking for homes, dealing with homelessness, but it's been years they've been dealing with homelessness. It's nothing that happened within the past 2-3 weeks. But like I said, I speak to myself, and my TV stays off most of the day because it's too much. So I know if it's bringing anxiety in me, and
somebody called Toy and said, "Hey, I see you on Java with Jimmy." I don't know why people do that, but so where, Toy was talking about the point of her particular work in her space. It is by folks who have been dealing either by the loved ones, impact survivors of attempts around death by suicide. What we were getting ready to talk about is her perception, and she was getting ready to talk about her individual, impact. If she's dealing with anxiety, I'm dealing with some anxiety from a macro level, seeing what's going on. It's very interesting. And she is someone that, as I said before, has built spaces and awareness around this. And it is a resource. And speaking of resource, anybody that knows someone that is feeling overwhelmed and needs support, of course, Dee Dee's Cry is a resource. Let me just put that website. And it's so funny because we are going back to 2020 and doing stuff in real time. I want to put Dee Dee's Cry's website up because you can get all the information, all the events. Oh, there she goes. We got her back. So
okay. No, so what I realized.
Hold on for 1 second, Toy. Let me put the Dee Dee's Cry website in the comments. I was just making sure, Toy, while we were working out the tech. So did you turn your okay, we doing good. Did you turn the do not disturb on?
Okay, so no, because if I take the screen away, I don't know how to get back to you.
So don't take the screen away.
I would have to go to the do not disturb part of my.
Oh, okay. So I think
so even with the call coming in, so what happened last time with the call coming in, I dismissed the call and it took me out altogether. So I decided not to touch it this time and let it go to voicemail. But I realized I could hear you speaking the whole time. But I guess once the call came in, it turned my camera off. So
on Friday. So I'm going to give you a big long.
Okay. So with this being the week of the summit, these are the business calls that are coming in. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. But okay. So I got to listen, because the business of it is real. So DEI, someone that moves in this space with grants and support. So this is where, I kind of wanted to go further where you were talking about the impact of you as an individual, but then you also say if you're dealing with anxiety and whatnot, you presume others are. So let's go back to that part of the conversation. And if something else goes out, we'll just do what we did and I'll fill in and share resources until it goes to voicemail. And then you get back to the screen.
Yes.
Boy, it's so apropos that we can laugh during, while we're talking about something that is so very serious and impactful in our community. So please share with us again, you're feeling anxiety. What are you perceiving, from a macro community standpoint as well?
So even just as a person, what the president does is he just overloads the media constantly with different decisions. So whether the courts come in and stop him, it's to me, it's like 3-card Molly. Like, look at me over here so you don't see what I'm doing over here. And like I said, it caused me anxiety because it's just too much. So since we went through it 4 years ago, I was like, I'm not going down that hole again with him this time around.
So what I'm hearing,
yes, go on.
I'm hearing, and there's a couple of comments in here. Mama Java, of course, said that I try not to watch news myself. I get texts on my phone. Kelly said the anxiety is real. I had to limit myself to searching once a day to see what 47 has done, that day, because there is also the piece of being in, I've said in this space, an attempt to stay woke and then also, hold joy and, awareness and information. And so to your point, I'm hearing intentional media consumption.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Why so in a mental health space? Why is for you? You know what, Toy? I apologize. I was imposing on you at last minute because when did I hit you? Wednesday, Thursday. We talked last week or Friday, Saturday. I said, Toy, when you do it on Monday?
Yeah.
And I'm imposing on you, Toy, come in and talk to the macro. Let's just talk about you, because if you dealing with it, as you said, it's macro, because we gonna have some commonality about this. And so intentional media consumption, why is that important for you to be wise about that based on what you said of what you perceived 8 years ago?
Yes. So protecting myself and my own self-care, I may only check in once a day, whether it's social media or the news. And then I'm finding I'm just doing local news because the other news is just too much. Whereas when he was president before, I was like CNN, Fox News, just trying to hear what everyone is saying. And then that's not news. It's mostly opinions. And I don't need to hear other people's opinions.
It is, and that is,
because I just want the news. I don't want the opinions. What is going on? And then I want to form my own opinion.
absolutely. And in a space where, this isn't the news, this isn't journalism. You're in a space that comes with a lot of opinion and a lot of commentary. Now, leaning towards equity, but that is very real because we saw misinformation. You talked about the 3-card Molly, distraction over here. You flip the card. Oh, this is really what you did. So let me ask also, you're a Black woman. What's coming up Friday and what you've curated for the past few years is mental health while Black. As a Black woman, before the woman, as a Black person.
Yes.
With the sensitivity of not triggering you, because, talking about it is interesting. As a Black person, from a mental health while Black, in the current state of times, how we doing?
How are we doing? I think we're doing how we're always doing. Like we always have to fight and we always have to carry others on our backs. So I think that's how we're doing. So even when I started Mental Health While Black in 2019, it was because Black people were getting in trouble, like, like the guy watching the birds, and then was barbecuing while Black, and standing at the bus stop while Black. And I was like, we need mental health while Black, right? So our being Black is unique, and it can get heavy sometimes because everybody is coming after you. So even with the whole thing with affirmative action, the whole thing with DEI, and DEI doesn't mean you get hired because you're a Black person. Like DEI is the same as just the Civil Rights Act, right? If those people have a head start, it's just open the door for a woman, someone with disabilities. So it's not just because you're Black. And so that's what I mean by carrying others on our backs. So when people hear, things are going bad because of DEI, that's not the case. It's not because you're Black, you get the job. You still have to have the qualifications. The job qualifications didn't change. To be a pilot, the qualifications didn't change. It's just that, okay, let's give somebody else a chance instead of just white men getting the jobs. Let's open the door so others can get the job. Because if that was going on all along, we wouldn't have needed the Civil Rights Act.
You better cut. And Toy, for me, it is how I love often that when you bang something that is a real reality and the heaviness that you just seem that we're carrying, it's ended with the is that snicker there because of the silliness of it and just the fact that we have to, and it's just it is helpful because you just drop the heavy nugget and then you kind of ended with the ability to still like smile because what the gist is almost unbelievable, silly, unfathomable. It is helpful, honestly, when you do that because it after what you drop, it's like, okay, there goes that, smile, and enjoy there. And so go further there about, just that mental health impact and why, you did say that you saw all this other while Black. So out of that came the Mental Health While Black Summit. You are right. We do carry a lot. So why the summit? in its origin? Like, what is the desired outcome? What generally does it cover? And also, I know there's different themes. Let's keep it 100. I've been involved every year, so I know what it is. But I want to allow Toy, because they're people like you, Sheena, I believe, always relevant. But in these times, the support, the attention, creating these Black spaces for mental health, joy, business connections, and all that other stuff is important. So what happens generally at the Mental Health While Black Summit?
So one thing I want to say about the summit, because what I get a lot from people is, why Encore? So the funny thing is, why Encore? So 4 years ago, this will be our 4th year at Encore. I was at Encore, and there weren't any, I was seeing people coming out of the conference space and everybody smiling and happy, but everyone was white. So 4 years ago, there wasn't Black people using the space at Encore. And I said, I'm hearing Brother Conan in my head, we belong everywhere.
Hold on. Let me do it for you. Let me do it right.
Yes.
We belong everywhere.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I was like, I'm going to do an event here. And I'm like, we deserve linen. Like, why don't we deserve nice things? And not knowing if I could raise the funds to even have it there. Grateful for the Peace Institute and for the Boston Public Health Commission for carrying Dee Dee's Cry all these years to make sure that we got it done. So that's one thing, because I wanted Black joy in that space. We deserve to be in that space.
Can I say something there?
Yes.
And we can be transparent. Our conversation the other day, I had revealed to you that, where the support, and I thank you, Toy, for your consideration of looking out and considering, value time and coming and being a part of Dee Dee's Cry. And I tell you that coming there for that 1 or 2 days, for me, I told you that just the thought of Friday.
For me too.
Because let's keep it. No, I'm not even going to go there. So thank you, for clarifying that. We do. To Brother Conan's point, we belong everywhere. So when we get there, it is varied. The first year, there's always what you tell us what there will always be as far as staples.
As far as staples, I guess you.
I'm not talking about me, but like,
Dr. Brandy.
Yeah, not people. I'm talking about the stuff in the panels and the workshop.
There will always be a hot breakfast. I am one that when I go to an event and they say breakfast and it's just muffins, yeah, that kind of make me hangry. So there will always be people with lived experience sharing their story. Like I said, the first Mental Health While Black, which happened in 2019, I didn't start calling it a summit until we got to Encore. So Encore is 4 years, but doing our Mental Health While Black started in 2019. When I started it, I was like, I want people to share their stories. I want people to talk. And it was like, Toy, you just can't have people talking. I was like, you need to give them questions and this. I'm like, no, I want them to talk and share their stories. And even that day at the bowling building, just the way people received it was just so good, because you never hear people sharing their truth, especially in the day of social media. You got people just posting pictures, at the Bahamas or, wherever they're at, just all the good stuff.
In Miami. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, in Miami. But you never hear, I used to be a drug addict. You never hear, I lost my kids to DYS, DCF, or just the real life part of life.
Yeah.
And when people hear that, you feel, for one, it empowers you. So many times when I say to people, I'm a suicide attempt survivor, I hear, me too. And it's a bond, but you're just glad to hear, like, oh man, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who was overwhelmed by life. Or I'm not the only one who's behind in a bill. I'm not the only one whose child is getting suspended from school. You need that support from others who know what you're going through.
How important is it, along with the summit and other things, you hold spaces around Not the Only One. And it is now, foundation of Dee Dee's Cry is suicide prevention. But part of that is of from what I see, some of the stuff you do, it's attempting to get folks together to understand they're not the only one, but in particular, affinity or spaces. Men, you've done stuff with young people. That's not just confined. Is it open to everyone and not just confined to either survivors or people that have attempted or considered death by suicide?
Yes, the summit is open to everyone. It's not only Black people that are
Not
there.
just the summit. Not just, I'm talking about all of what Dee Dee's Cry does.
All of this fine? Yeah, it's open to everything and everyone. Everything and everyone. Our main focus is the Black community,
Yeah.
but of course, suicide knows no racial boundaries, so we serve everyone. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear so folks understand that, because again, another thing of what you do is you hold these spaces to support people before it gets to a point. And I see one of our clinicians in the room, Shauna Lee Ruggless, that I still owe some follow-up to something. That, to a point where you may not have to consider, suicide, because that a lot of that, so, and you can tell me, you talked about the overwhelmingness, and we make it a light term now, when life be lifing.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I won't say it, but you understand the heart of what I was getting ready to say, because sometimes when life be.
I received a call yesterday. I spoke to the person for well over an hour. I get calls, just people, like I said, life be lifing. And sometimes they just need to hear another perspective.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because the way I saw things, he was dealing with things with his family, and the way he was saying, well, my mother said this to me and that to me. And I'm able to say, well, see, when you said that, this is the way I took that statement. And then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. And, he's just fed up with life and fed up with people. And it was right after I post something like, what did I post yesterday? They hate us because they can't break us. So I was able to say to him, like, don't let people break you. You're saying your family, you're saying Massachusetts, you're saying this. I said, granted, our environment has a lot to do with our mental health. I'm like, if you can't get on a plane right now and leave Massachusetts, you need to change what you can change, right?
Hold on. Hold on. Do me a favor. Forget y'all that's watching right now. Toy, say that again
What?
to me. If you what? If you can't get on a plane.
Oh, if you can't get on a plane right now, you need to change the environment around you, because the person was feeling like, Massachusetts, I don't like people in Massachusetts and this and that. And I understand, because I hear people say that, like, Massachusetts not for them. But either you're going to be miserable, like you said, if you can't get on a plane right now, because I'm like, more than likely, if you're miserable inside, you're going to go to another state and take that misery with you. So I'm like, you need to deal with what you need to deal with here.
And control your environment of what you can control, who's in it, who contributes to it, who influences it, and who you allow to have access to you.
Exactly.
And let the church say,
amen.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Change your environment to what Mama Java just said. What you can control, you can control. But the point is, I heard from you conversation. You were able to give him another perspective and look, but you wouldn't have been able to do that if there was not what?
What?
Conversation.
Yes. Yes. Right. Okay. So I was able to give him that time, and people appreciate that. Like, you listened to me. I called you, you answered, you listened to me. A lot of people get surprised. Like, I answer my own phone. Yeah. Like I do.
Now, based on the point of what I just said, and I know you also got to balance accessibility, Tori, because folks like you and I don't hang up the phone and the conversation ended. Our head is, what policy made this even happen? Who's around to support them? What is the part that I can do? How much can I do and support them and also take care of myself? We don't hang up a phone. We don't have a conversation and it's just over. That's why I decompress after this sometimes, because I hit end and then everything that came up, I got to get off of me and whatnot. So I just want to say to my friend, and I would say sister, but a little bit of like auntie too, because that's just you, Toy. No disrespect on the auntie thing, but no, I got to say to you that you also have to be aware and sensitive to your accessibility, because answering all them calls. So in that vein, a little bit, not all over the place, but it's Mental Health Monday. You and I talk. Yeah. What are you doing for self-care, Toy? And don't tell me, you cannot name anything that is contributing to helping people. Nothing about it. No Roxbury Parade, no summit, no guide.
So on Friday, I did, I was feeling like, you know what? I need to stop. I was like, I need to stop. Hold on. So I even called a friend of mine. I was like, hey, what you doing? I need to connect with you because I just need for everything to stop right now.
Everything. Oh, yes. Go deeper there.
Because everything was just coming like, this agency needs a report. That agency needs a report. I need to get this done for the summit. I need to get that done for a presentation. And I was like, I just need everything to stop right now. And I probably went like 5 hours without logging on my phone, answering calls. I was receiving texts, didn't respond to the text. And if you know me, that is not me. And even though y'all might be like 5 hours, that ain't nothing.
Listen.
That's a long time for me.
For me,
because I respond to people because I want somebody to respond to me if I'm reaching out.
Hold on. I don't think we were doing all the Alexa thing back when we started in 2020 and 21. Sorry about that. Alexa's becoming a staple in here just as much as you are, Toy. What you reading? Get off your phone. I said
no. It's an email from the mayor's office.
Okay, so hold on. Let's see if we got the same one or that's an individual one. But no, Toy. In all seriousness, like that, a lot of what you just named about being at Encore, self-care. Now, hold on. We didn't finish because Alexa interrupted us. Finish your self-care piece. You had the 5 hours. The 5 hours was just shutdown time for you. And you were saying that for us, listen, and especially, and I think you can appreciate this, for someone that kind of moves in the social media space. I told, who was it? Darren. Just this morning, we were talking about it before the show. Me totally logging off gets interesting as someone whose livelihood is a little bit based in social media. And so like, I thank you, Darren. what we said was he's taking some downtime virtually, off of, just social media and stuff. What I said to him was, and it goes back to your plane, and also a reaffirmation for me to control my environment. Because for me, logging off gets interesting, completely logging off. And so mine is the plane. But to your point, when you can't jump on a plane, to the brother that was going through, it helped me, Toy, to hear that from you today. It affirmed for me some things I had to decide this weekend. I got to change my environment. And that is not always physical. That's people, access, and engagement. I do you agree? I'd love to hear your response and commentary there. Away from environment being physical, what are some other ways that we can change our environment, that we can protect our peace, curate more Black joy, not get distracted by the noise, as you said earlier? What are some ways that we can change our environment, to your point of not being able to physically get out of here?
Well, how you mentioned the pictures behind me,
Yes.
I was saying to people when I do speak, my environment, when I come through the door, like, that's my family. That's joy right there. So as soon as I walk in my house, I'm looking at joy, right? I have a curio. When I travel, I buy shot glasses as a keepsake. So I have a whole curio of shot glasses of place that I visited. And even just looking at that brings me to that memory of joy. So, yeah, especially my shot glass of the Civil Rights Museum, and just plants, whatever it is, just bring you joy. Like my plant, which is not here right now. My daughter has my plant because I don't have a green thumb, but my plant, I named my plant after my grandmother and my great-grandmother. Okay. So when it was here, I would wake up and be like, hey, Mary Grace, good morning. So it was like, of course, my grandmother died in the 90s, but it's still, good morning, me speaking to her, me speaking to my ancestors. So whatever it is that brings you joy, bring that into your environment.
And can I ask one last question? Because, oh God, Toys, 1050. You said what brings joy to your environment.
Yes.
What would you say around either filtering, eliminating, love from a distance, about things that fight your joy? They can be tangible. Here lately, I've been using or looking at the term noun, Toy, very differently. If people, places, things, that part.
If it don't edify the soul, don't eat it.
Well, I won't say the eating part because, you said the soul, not the body. Okay. Because we was very unhealthy yesterday during Super Bowl, in the tradition of just eating and stuff. But okay, if it don't edify your soul, don't eat it.
Yeah.
And that okay. Fine.
Don't take it in.
And sometimes in not taking it in, you gotta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shut it down, shut it out.
She says, shut it down and shut it out. Okay.
Yeah.
We got a few little nuggets here from you today, Toy. So I want to thank you. It was last minute. Shout out to you because you worked it out through the technical difficulties. So put that another technical thing under your belt.
I did. I emailed the link to myself, and then I don't even remember what I did. Oh, no, I had to make Safari my default browser. Yes.
And you did that?
But it wasn't my default browser. So that's why it kept kicking it back or whatever. Okay.
So then when you get ready to open something else again, what is your preferred default browser?
It's Google. So yeah, I would go back into my settings and take Safari off and go back to Google.
You know how to do that now?
I do now. I do now.
Y'all won't get this, but me and Toy having a convo right now. Excuse us. So Toy, you better go listen. In these days, we got to celebrate every little T90, as my family is, I guess, the only one that says that T90, which means real small. I got that from my mother. We got to celebrate every T90 accomplishment, success, and joy. So yeah. Toy is up in her settings now, and she can switch her web browser. Listen.
I just don't know how to go from one screen to another, so I ain't touching that.
It's on the phone. I think it's on the iPad. It's 4. I think on the phone it's 2. You can swipe to back and forth between apps. So, Toy, sometime on Friday.
Yes.
Between the tomato cake. Hi, Marvin. Between the
that's who I called on Friday. I'm like, hey, like I need everything to stop.
Oh, listen, and Marvin is listen. And I shared, a little bit. We didn't get to finish. I shared some things with you when we checked in last week. And on a good note of what I shared with you, I got to give that brother his flowers because we move in the same space. I mean, he's iHeart and all this wonderful stuff. But from day one, that brother has been supportive, partnered, called me the other day, was like, you want to jump on real quick? And I just got to shout him out real quick. And for the Black joy he created at his first time at the Mental Health While Black Summit. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Capri's, it's not caprese, it's Capri's salad. It's typically a tomato, a slice of mozzarella, some pesto sauce, basil. Repeat more than likely one time, and they'll end with maybe a mozzarella slice on the top with some basil and pesto. So the server comes and sits it before Marvin. Now, I went to high school with him. I'm sorry.
You got to say Marv Neal. Yes, you got to say Marv Neal. People ain't going to know who you're talking about.
I went to high school with Marv Neal. So I'm sorry. Marv Neal, the staff came and sat the Capri's in front of him. Marv Neal sits there and he has his fork and he's poking and looking. And I don't know what possessed this man to say, well, wow, this is nice. I ain't never had tomato cake. What? Toy? Oh my God. Marvin, bro, we love and appreciate you, man, because he is somebody, to your point, that you can call. Like, there was something going on before Marvin texted me. He was like, you need a hug, man. You good? You know what I mean? It's just the concern that, and it's genuine.
Yes.
It's genuine. And so we got to shout that Black man out and give him his flowers. So folks, run and tell him that Black man got a shout out. So Toy, I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to Friday on many levels. The water.
Yeah.
That place is its own mini little community. And technically, I'm not getting on a plane, but technically, Toy, we're leaving Boston. Technically.
Yes.
That's enough
Even
for me.
though the Boston line is right there, the sign says enter in Boston right at the end of the building, but we are not in Boston.
That's enough for me. Love my city. That's enough for me because it's about to get real interesting. And in that note, Toy, thank you so much for being with us today. I look forward to seeing. And thank you. I won't go into details, but I reached out to you about someone. And without hesitation, you was like, yeah, connect me. And you made it happen that they're able to come and get a day away, but focused in this space. So I want to thank you for doing that, for that, family. So thank you so much for doing that. So folks, I want to make sure before we go, Pam is in the building. Good morning, Pam. I want to make sure that you all know, with the website, I did put up not only for resources and information, but if you're seeing the website, there is also, I believe, a donate button there. If you would like to donate to Dee Dee's Cry, you can. It's been a while. In order to donate to Dee Dee's Cry, you can write a check out to the Louis D. Brown.
The Roxbury Unity Parade.
You got your own?
Yes.
Your own conduit now?
Yes. So the Roxbury Unity Parade.
You're taking your own donations now?
Huh?
You taking your own donations now?
Yep. Roxbury Unity Parade.
So if you move in the nonprofit space, if you have started work and wanted to officially like be able to, and Tina, because you know she supports me, she's my fiscal conduit for the help spaces that we used to get support for in COVID, and still every now and then. But y'all may see me smile. If you've moved in the nonprofit space or helping space and you've wanted to be able to, get your own donations and do your thing and whatnot, it is a great big accomplishment. So Toy, I didn't know that you got your own 501c3. All right. This as heavy as today's topic seriously was, naming that accomplishment. So let me go back. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to make a donation to Dee Dee's Cry and further their work, you can make a check payable to the Roxbury Unity Parade. You can mail that check to John Elliott Square, Roxbury, Mass. 02119. In the memo, what you should do is put Dee Dee's Cry in the memo, and you can make a donation. Your donations as of whenever date, but we'll say today, are tax deductible. So, and you can also make a donation via the website as well. And so, Troy.
Thank you.
Troy, you remember my white couch?
Yep.
And we was on a laptop talking mental health before there was ever any Java?
Yep.
I saw what I'm going to do this. One.
I'm speaking to Harvard today. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
I started at Salem on Friday.
Oh.
So can we y'all do me a favor, because we should be able to celebrate our accomplishments without the fear. And I'll frame it like this: without the fear of those that don't know who we are, but also without the fear and concern for those that don't know who they are. We should be able to celebrate. So Toy, when I say yo, especially to a woman, you got me in a passion place. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yes. Awesome.
What are you doing at Harvard today?
Speaking about Black mental health to the undergrad class. Yeah.
You better go ahead and open that door, because I'll push that little fellowship spirit over your way. Not just one class, hit it and done.
Yeah.
All right, Toy, get off my phone. And we'll, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you on Friday. Oh, and yeah, you got to and I told you, whatever we got to do, we'll do at the last minute. But if there's anything, just let me know what I need to be. Well, anyway, Toy, you can tell me 2 minutes before. We've done it. Well, James, we're just going to. I love you. I will see you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Listen, everyone, as real and heavy as that subject was of being, our Blackness and mental health in these times, it is important that those times where we have joy, that we can be intentional about them, and name them, curate them, celebrate them. I'd also, without going into detail, continue to keep my couple of my sisters in prayer with health issues and whatnot. My baby sister, my middle sister, is home. And so we're checking in, and I'm checking on her, but she is home. So, and at some point she said, from what she went through, James, they don't call me Jimmy. They used to get on y'all don't understand. Jimmy, my family started that to get on my nerves. James, this sounds like a story. So when she's comfortable and wants to, we did it with my baby sister with her and breast cancer. We're going to do it with my middle sister, with her health experience. Okay. So with that being said, remember some of the things that came from Toy today about intentional media consumption. When you can't get on a plane, change your environment. And that is not just confined to physical. That is what I call the noun. People, places, and things that don't edify your joy and edify your soul may have to look. I said we're going to do a lot of reflection probably over the next month as we're coming up on these 5 years, which is just still and I'm telling y'all now, the closer we get to the 5, the very and you drink. I love you, Miss T. The closer we get to the 5, I'm telling y'all now, I'm probably going to be an emotional mess here and there. Because I realized this weekend that the distractions are English word. Distractions come from an Italian word, which comes from a Latin word. And the definition of the Latin word meant to, when you talk about distractions, it meant to dismantle and scatter. And so, on a note, when distractions come, their intention is to dismantle and then scatter what you've built. So, we're very don't pay attention to distractions. Don't get distracted. And distractions don't come with a big neon sign that say, "Hi, I'm about to distract you." They come in many forms. They come in forms of people, opinion, and other vehicles. And I'll just leave that there. So we're getting ready to celebrate and not be distracted. But let me just remind people, it's so interesting. I haven't had a show since Friday, since Salem State started. I'll end with this. Oh, it's 11:04. I should have known because my mother and her points, my eyes, moist eyes are coming. Whose? Yours or mine? I'm not messing with you. Sharon, whatever, trying to call me out. I think I'll get through this without tears. So I'm doing a fellowship at Salem State University with the Berry Institute of Politics. It started on Friday. And my co-fellow is Mary Lou Sutters. Mary Lou Sutters was the Secretary of Health and Human Services during COVID. She was the key advisors to Governor Charlie Baker, who on March 23rd told us to stay home, which on the day after he said that, what did we do? We were going live here and there. We were having convos, had years of we need to know and all that. But on March 24th, after I got the coffee off the Keurig and sat down, the intent and the intent of this platform started to brace the Black community for what COVID eventually did. And let me give further context. So anyway, Mary Lou. So we're sitting in orientation and she's telling stories about the time of COVID. She leaned over and she said, "This is off the record. So y'all will never hear the details, not from me, unless she ever writes a book. But let me just tell you this. I joked with y'all the other day and told y'all about how former Governor Baker purposely, I told her this, and she laughed and said, "Yeah, that's him." I told y'all Governor Baker stepped on my sneaker at the sneaker ball because I told him, I reminded him, I said, "Governor Baker, we met before. And first time I met you, was, I said, I appreciated you for your thing around COVID, though you was a Republican." That's when he nicely looked in my face with his tall self and leaned over and stepped on my sneaker. My point there is, she was the health advisor that informed him that we got to do this. So I looked at her and I said, jokingly, you, ma'am, are a reason that we have Java with Jimmy. And through some y'all, and we're doing something together. She's going to talk about COVID from a policy. I'm going to talk about how community got the information and then handled what they were doing at the state level. But we bonded. I mean, Hannah, I seen her pop over on Instagram from the Institute. Hannah, thank you all. And Cynthia, everybody from Salem State that made me feel welcome. And I got swag and the students. And we got 6 more sessions left. I know on that last session, I'm probably going to be a mess. But my point is, to be around this woman, knowing that she was in the state house doing stuff and I have access to her, and just by conversation, even in our panel the other day, if you all get a chance, it's over on my Instagram page, the whole, I think, hour and 42-minute panel. We were able to speak to a variety of students who have interests in advocacy, activism, and civic engagement in politics and electoral politics. So the next generation of activists and elected officials. So that's just a little update about Salem State. But yeah, we got a lot going on and coming up, but we're going to be very intentional and acknowledge 5 years. So as I said to Toy, we need to be able to celebrate without the distraction, as I said earlier. Y'all have a great day. UCB, y'all are not getting 22 more minutes from me. We're out of here. I love you too, Mother Java. Yes, it did. And Mar, you know, your question gave, we were going live, you know, we did a few shows with no title or whatever. But that day, with my intentionality of what the governor said, advised by Secretary Sutters, I got to start giving her credit now, of what the secretary advised the governor to do. In your question, I still have the screenshot. My mother's like, okay, you're doing this every other day. I don't know what your thoughts were, Mom, but she's like, well, is this going to be an everyday coffee hour? We went live the next day and 364 days every day after that. And I was talking to the team the other day, and y'all remember I took a break after the anniversary, a few days, and then April and May, remember I had kind of cut some days down because there was somebody in my life that was jealous of the platform and the attention that they weren't getting. And so there was a couple of months, I think I dropped down to like 2 days a week and almost let this thing go. Distractions. And then in May, we went back to, I think, 5 days a week, and we've landed at 4 days a week, I think, for the past 2.5 years, well, 2-3 years or so. And so I don't have an accurate count of the hours. I don't even have an accurate account of the shows. I don't have every single solitary show title and flyer. But what I do have is a family here in the Java Cafe that even from 50s and 60s and the 20s, in 20. And when folks started going back to work, we dropped down in the live to an average of about 18 to 25 a day. The afterwatch is still a little bit different. And I know folks were at home before. And there's, you know, sometimes some reference from some about numbers. Numbers only concern me around impact. And as long as I know that somebody, somewhere, at least once a month, gets something, an appointment, and advice connected to a service, a question asked, I'm good with the impact. And we got a lot of inboxes, texts, and I'll end with this. We've done the health fair. This will be our 4th year. One of the doctors, Dr. Rick Lee, called and said, Jimmy, I want us to be intentional this year about the policy that we influenced from the health fair. I was like, huh? Yeah, we influence policy. Do you remember for 2 years in a row, the GI doctors, which they kind of deal with colorectal cancer, I believe it's, I was surprised when he said GI. Well, gastrointestinology. Yeah, gastro, colon. For 2 years in a row, we had 2 different men come into the health fair and speak to them. And both men were told by the same health center that based on what they reported, they did not need to get screened. The second occurrence, the same 2 volunteers from MGH's cancer center pulled me and Dr. Lee aside and said, hey, this health center 2 years in a row sent 2 black men to us telling them they don't need to be screened. Guess what these doctors did? They called the health center. That health center now treats their black men different when it comes to screening. I'm like, so impact. Some of it is unspoken. I often say you never know who's what. All right. Let me pull myself. I said we'd be going places. We'd be going places. Hey, Miss Nisi. We'd be going places over these next few weeks leading up to the 5 years. And I just went in one. So with that being said, y'all have a wonderful day. We'll pick this up tomorrow because tomorrow's Testimony Tuesday. And there have been some tests and I got a testimony. Y'all have a great day and we'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. How could I forget? See y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Peace.